This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details. Hello and welcome to episode 147 of the Talk Nintendo podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Casey Gibson, and joining me this fine evening, the Corn Square himself, Mr. Perry Burkum.
Hello, Washington.
Ahoy, hoy. And now,
Ahoy, hoy.
Joining us, which was supposed to be last week, which was going to be the 4th of July, and I had this great quip all queued up because he's
was good.
Yeah, because he's from the UK, so I figured, of course, what's more patriotic than bringing on the big fat loser on our celebratorial day? But it was my fault. I was gonna say he dodged us. He heard wind and dodged us, but it was my stupid internet. No, we have returning to the podcast again from Four Horses, Mr. Mick Waits.
All four of them.
Good. Well, there's some news on that front, I'm afraid.
Uh-oh. What does that mean?
I'm not all four horses anymore.
Uh-oh.
I've been demoted to two horses.
No.
There's another rider?
Yeah, let's put it that way. My wife's going to be joining the company officially with me as a shareholder, and she's going to be taking on some of the admin work to make my life a bit easier, including
that's
doing
awesome,
bookkeeping
dude.
And stuff like that. So
Heck yeah.
yeah,
Dude,
it's,
that's so cool, man.
exciting times. I'm not going to pay her though.
So, yeah.
I'm from Yorkshire. We don't do things like that.
Well, that's the best kind of
Free labor.
Free labor. That's why we got away from you over in England.
Yeah.
Independent. No. That's amazing, dude. So, all right. So you're just two of them. You're just Mike and Mick now.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Cool, man. Well, how's it going? How have you been?
I've been good. I've been busy. I think since last time we spoke, I've launched games on Sony platforms, which obviously we don't talk about because Sony. Boo. Yeah.
Although we do talk about Casey talks about. Actually, Casey did sell his PS4.
Yeah, sad times.
And I do own a Vita though.
Well, there's a good chance that I end up with a PS4 sometime around Final Fantasy VII, but.
The beauty of that is it's really, really easy to get a PS4, and you could probably get seriously. Casey, I'll be on the lookout for you because I could probably get one for $50. And I'm dead serious.
It's really, and then there are a couple games like Ease 9 is going to be, I think, a PS4
that's true.
game. Yeah, I did not think this one through.
Anyway, speaking of Ease 9, back to Mick. So you released.
Yeah,
you released which games?
It was Kid Trip on Vita and PS4 cross-buy, which I would have done on Nintendo systems if they'd support it, but unfortunately they don't. But it's been good. It's been interesting working on that platform. Things are in some ways better than working with Nintendo, and in some ways considerably worse. But
why don't you go into the deep? Why don't you show us some of your NDA disclosures, and we can try to get you into trouble.
I should tread carefully because.
Well, I do want to ask, how is it different per se? Is it just like a different language, or is it just different barriers and hurdles for each platform holder that you sort of gotta get around, or?
It's more processes. There's some weirdness, like with Microsoft and Nintendo. You basically say this is a price I'm selling at. Your contract already says what percentage they're going to take, and that's that. With Sony, you basically have to offer them a wholesale price and a retail price, almost as I would assume it would work with a physical commodity that people are sort of getting to put in the stores or whatever. So that just seems a bit weird, but they can obviously reject it, and they've already told you in advance pretty much what the percentages they're going to be taking. So I don't really know why the system has to work like that, but that's how it is. And they just the approvals process and the likes all very strange and unfamiliar. With Nintendo and Microsoft, it was pretty clear when the game had passed and was going to release. With Sony, I just sort of stopped receiving emails from them at one point, and the game showed on their site as being conditionally approved, but then launched exactly when I sort of expected it to. It's just a little disconcerting, really.
Gotcha.
Well, now that Sony's got, and now that the big boys on the block, they forget about the little guys, you know.
Well, I mean, I've heard it said that PS5 they're only interested in AAA development. They're not interested in any small scale indie developments at all. So
Interesting.
It's crazy. Like I said, it's crazy how it seems like every generation, right? It was like when Xbox came out with Xbox One, you know, they were the champions, you know. So they came out doing all these stupid things, and like then all of a sudden they had to eat crow and how do you make good with the gamers? You know, it's like, oh, we're going to like cultivate smaller like indie teams and all these great games and give them a platform, you know, and now they're sort of working their way up, and now Sony's like, well, no, we don't have to worry about that. So I'm sort of half expecting it to bite them in the butt come PS5. It just seems like those two always sort of teeter-totter, which one's atop the mountain, and it seems like they make the same mistakes each time. It just weird, you know, it's sort of baffling.
I always feel that Sony very much want their early games to show off the amazing power of their systems, because the systems are all about it's so much more powerful than last time, whereas Nintendo's more about innovation and different ways to play. So I think their attitudes are different for those reasons, and I think it's perfectly understandable. They're selling a console based on how amazing the graphics look. There's not much point having a exceptionally low-res pixel art game scaled up to 8K. So
I don't know. I want to see those 8K bits.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Miles and Kilo in 8K. Just saying.
Oh, Kid Trip runs in 4K on the PS4 Pro.
Oh, nice. There you go.
There you go. Keep an eye out for a PS4 Pro and a 4K TV for me.
Each one of the pixels in the sprites, I think, takes up well over 100 actual on-screen pixels. It's magnified that much.
Ooh, I bet it looks amazing.
That's amazing.
You know, actually, funnily enough, Kid Trip, when you play it, it is quite the different experience when you play it on a TV. Like when I then playing it like on my Switch on handheld, when I put it on TV, it's kind of like, whoa! It's like the sprites are so big, and you know what I mean. It's kind of the big screen. It's almost like you want it to be. I kind of like it on a smaller screen.
Yeah, I agree. I think it does work better on the smaller screen, but still buy it on both, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
well, the beautiful part is,
and if you buy it on PS4, it feels faster on the bigger screen.
Oh, is it?
It isn't, but it feels it because I think the pixels are moving further.
It feels exactly. That's right. Yeah, I was gonna say it's funny because you mentioned you wanted to do it cross buy on Nintendo platforms, but the cool thing is any Switch game you buy docked, you also get it for free undocked.
That's very true. That's very true.
So that is kind of
man.
Cool but,
you sound like you could work for Nintendo marketing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, wouldn't that be couldn't you totally imagine them
saying
saying
cross
that?
buy
Like in an interview.
Both versions
well, actually, you do get the version on. Well, that was the funny thing with the Wii U, was that was kind of like one of the things you could do with the Wii U was like, well, and on some games you can play it off screen, you know, but of course some of them you couldn't because you were using both screens.
Yeah.
So like it was something they couldn't even say it. It's like, what a mess. The Wii U.
Good old Wii U, man.
Although
the Switch prototype.
Yeah. Oh, totally. It's totally the Switch prototype. Anyway. We're going to be getting into a good old topic about a Switch game coming out, a Nintendo game, a big one this year. That'll be our topic of the show at the end. But first, we're going to get into what we've been playing. Mick doesn't play video games. He only develops them. So
ain't no time. It's all work and no play.
But he's going to be commenting and talking about them for sure. Coming up, but first we're going to start with some quick bites.
Quick bites.
Quick bites. All right, now what do we got, Casey?
We got some Mario Maker 2 and some Apex Legends quick bites. Mario
Maker 2.
Well, we'll start with Apex Legends.
Apex Legends.
Just playing a whole bunch of that. Season 2 dropped, so there's some changes some new weapons or I don't know about new weapons, but like they made changes to weapons and stuff, some different things with the maps. But yeah, I've just been enjoying that game, and man, it's just so satisfying when you do like have a great round and get like a whole bunch of kills. I had back-to-back wins for the first time, which was pretty cool.
Back-to-back wins, like where you're the like
the last team,
like you're the last
surviving.
Okay,
yeah.
so is it always team?
Yeah, it's 20 teams of 3 players.
Okay, gotcha. Now, have you played with anyone like?
Yep, me and Estuardo. Me and Estuardo
you?
played on Saturday. We played for a little bit.
Oh, sweet.
And
Did
then
you play
we
with
tried.
Aaron?
No, he got on, but it's not cross-play or cross-platform yet.
Oh my goodness.
Which is weird because like if he was trying to play on a PlayStation, I would understand. But I feel like Xbox and PC, it's like why is that not working? But no cross-play, so we couldn't play unfortunately. But me and Estuardo played for a little bit, so.
But yeah, so you like it? Do you like it better than Fortnite?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. It's like to me the building aspect of Fortnite is like my least favorite part of it. So it's like this is just like, oh well, there's no building. I'm in first person.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is better to me is better combat. For like this style of game. And then
because that is annoying. That is kind of like a pretty big block for people with skill. I know that me and Mick, we're not very good at building. like a lot of, some people are just like,
oh, they could just like erect a tower in 3 seconds.
And it's like that's just annoying. It's like their first. I should just learn how to do it, but it's almost like I don't want to learn how to do it out of spite
I'm putting my foot in the sand.
I feel like, get off my lawn. I feel like an old man. Like, I'm not going. Back in my day, I just shot things. I didn't build nothing, and quit with your Minecraft and stuff like that. But it is a cool thing. I like it on a slower sense. I like being able to build a fort and stuff. But yeah, I totally get that. That's a good point. But this is a first-person shooter.
Yeah, like it feels like Call of Duty with Fortnite elements, but also like Overwatch, because each character or each legend has like their own set of unique abilities, and you can't have 2 of the same legends on the same team, so you might not always get your legend that you want to play with, but there's 8 of them now. They just added an 8th for the second season. I think it's 4. No, 4. Maybe there's. I don't know how many. I think it's 8. It might be 9. It might be the 9th. I don't know. Regardless, I think you start out with 5 unlocked, and you could buy 3, and then maybe the new characters, the 4th you could purchase. But I actually unlocked enough in-game currency to unlock a character by just playing the game, and you can continue to do that. It takes a while, you know what I mean?
So that is a pretty big difference, right? Is that everyone's not on equal footing, right? Everyone's not the same character.
No, right? Each character has different abilities. Yep.
Okay, that's interesting.
And then if you're running with a team, you might find that that person's going to be this legend. I'm going to take this one, so we have this ability, or what not.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool.
But yeah, no, I like it way better than Fortnite, dude. Infinitely times better. But yeah. Other quick bite. Some Super Mario Maker 2. So I've been chugging along. I got through the story mode. I haven't beaten every single level in the story mode. Obviously, once you get the castle 100%, there's still a handful of levels that you could play through. So I do want to go back and continue that. We did the stream on Saturday night, which was awesome. Played a bunch of people's levels. We had over 20 people hanging out at one point, which was pretty darn cool. Yeah, and
that was a fun stream.
There's going to be more Mario goodness, but we'll get to that in the old Twitch Lagoon. I've been just enjoying this Mario game. I definitely look forward to doing more streaming. A lot of really good levels. For the, you know what I mean? I think there was one really trolly level I got. And I actually went back and tried to play it after the stream, and man, it just continues to troll super hard. But most of the levels were really good and clever, and clever, whether it was from a puzzly kind of level or just clever mechanics in cool platforming. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more of that.
So I've been playing a bunch of Mario Maker too, and it's funny because I've played a lot of Chicken Wiggle this past year, and anyway, I've talked with like Jules about it, and I was like, "Are you going to be getting Mario Maker?" And he's like, "It kind of just it's funny, and this is kind of a funny idea, but it makes complete sense. He's kind of like, it kind of feels like work, to make someone else's game."
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like if you're gonna do that, he's like, why don't I just make my own game, And I think Mick, didn't we talk about this? Isn't it kind of the same with you?
Yeah,
I'm not very interested. It's kind of more worky, or I don't know.
I don't have a huge amount of spare time for playing games. I mean, I bought Iconoclasts recently, and I've played through the first section of it, just a small section, just to see what it was about. And I've not had a chance to go back to it yet. And I've got so many games in my backlog that I should go back to and spend more time on. And if I'm going to spend any time playing games instead of making them, that's what I want to be doing. I want to be playing. I just don't want to do level design. Plus, I'm a bit concerned that if I make a Mario Maker level and it gets out there, people will say how bad I am at level design and they'll stop buying me games.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, it is, and it's pretty. Now, the cool thing about Mario Maker is that in this one, there is a cool story mode, and you can just get online. I mean, you really don't have to make anything at all. So I think that's pretty cool.
And some of these people online are insane, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever? Yeah.
I've seen some of the things. I've seen some of the levels. It looks really good.
Yeah,
the things you can do with it are incredible.
Panga, Panga. He makes like the most absurd levels of all time. And I'm pretty sure he actually streams like creating them. So it's like if you really want to see someone who makes like super hard levels, that might be someone worth checking out. But like where people are spending hours on end trying to beat this one level and like all these crazy precise jumps and it really is insane. And just like, man, my levels stink.
Yeah, and that's why I with me designing, I think those are fun. I think hard levels, like Meat Boy style levels, like hard.
The Kaizos.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not to that. I mean, yeah, as long as they're not super, 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 super long. I think that's fun because I think Mario just has the best physics of any like free-forming platforming game. It just, the way it just feels so good. It's that perfect. It's not a hard. It's not like hard meaning like it's not a blunt jumper. It's a very soft but not too soft jumper, and the wall jumps and stuff. It's really cool. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. But like I said last week, there are a lot of things that I like. It's funny because I truly do. I mean, I think the stylus has a lot to do with it. The screen and playing with the stylus, like Chicken Wiggle, playing with it on 3DS. So it's going to be interesting playing that on Switch. But it's so funny because when I did play Chicken Wiggle on Switch at PAX, it immediately felt good. I mean, you were there with me. Like, I could make levels easily, and there was nothing. I mean, of course, I was playing it, but it translated perfect. And at that time, I was playing tons of Chicken Wiggle on 3DS, so it translated just perfect. And it's like with Mario, it really fighting against it, and a lot of their decisions. It's
I also think like it's just a much more robust tool set, right? I mean, Chicken Wiggle definitely. I'm not calling it bare bones by any means or anything, but like in comparison of the two, like there's just a lot more you could use in Mario. So that's obviously going to make things sort of muddied when it's like, well, I've got 40 enemies. I don't know how many enemies there actually are, but like, I've got 40 enemies to finagle with, and then like, if I want to make them big, I got to give them a mushroom, and you know what I mean? Like, I know
exactly what you mean. Honestly, though, it's not the design of the levels. It's not the design of the tool set. Honestly, it's like because I know what I want. It's just the implementation of like, how do I get to that, and like, how do I actually put it on the screen, and how do I make that bigger? I mean, but that is definitely part of it, Casey, for sure. Like, obviously, there's a lot more to utilize there, and it's a lot lot.
You need to get yourself a stylus,
but.
Especially for the wiggle,
I do have a stylus.
like you're gonna
dude, I have a stylus on my Switch, and it works just fine. But it's not 100% like all the other styluses are. I wish that Switch didn't have the screen it has. I wish it had one like the 3DS. I know, I know everyone's
like,
crazy.
what a monster.
I mean, I just saying, just for this stuff. I mean, for gaming, stylus is so much better than I mean, do you have a stylus for the Switch?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, you do it and try it, and then tell me, because you are not going to think this. It is not that much better, and it's especially when you compare it to using a real stylus like I have for the 3DS. Anyway, I'm really enjoying it, and I am getting better. I am getting more comfortable with it, but it's just the Switch. It was going to be an inherent problem, right? Coming out on Switch. Obviously, it was made for the Wii U, but it's a lot of fun. Super Mario Maker 2 is very cool. You know what I should do? Mick, make a Miles and Kilo level. That would be cool. I didn't even think about that.
That would be cool. The game technically,
because you can do auto scrolling.
It technically, right, within Mario Maker. I think you meant Miles and Kilo.
Oh, dude, a Miles and Kilo Maker would be sweet.
Well, I mean, the level designer is actually built into the game, but it's just not in the production builds. That's how my
gotta
game
unlock
together.
it.
Yeah.
Mick,
Boom.
you need to do that. That would be insane. But anyway, I have a feeling we're going to talk about Miles and Kilo later in the news block, maybe with a world exclusive piece.
It's like the
news.
Xbox world premiere.
Yeah, it is going to be. It is. So stay tuned for the news block. But let's get into what we've been sinking some more time into. And I think I'm going to go first. No, Casey, why don't you go first, because you got 2 games.
All right, yep. I got 2 games that I'm not going to talk a whole bunch about either one. The first one, Grim Dawn.
What the heck is Grim Dawn?
Is a PC game.
PC game?
So I was looking, and I saw some...
Do you know the name of this podcast?
Yep, yeah.
Apex Legends and Grim Dawn.
Yeah. I've been
Get outta here.
gymming hard.
You've been
Essentially, gym hard. I saw some news about Diablo 4 pop up somewhere along the lines, and I was like, Diablo. And essentially, I was just reading. I was like, man, I hope they sort of go back to like the Diablo 2, Diablo 1-ish style. Most particularly in gameplay too, because like Diablo 3 is just like a big old blow up enemy fest. And like Diablo 2 can get like that, but more like just the actual aesthetics, like how it sort of got that cartoony feel in Diablo 3. Like it's still like a dark toned game, right? But like the visuals are sort of cartoony in a sense. But Diablo 2 and especially Diablo 1, like more gothic feeling, darker, grittier, you know? So I was like, man, I really hope they go back to that. But however down the line I got to it, I was just like, there was a couple games that they were talking about, like, yeah, like, these are sort of like good substitutes for like that Diablo 2 style play. And Grim Dawn was one of them. And I looked and I was like, all right, this game looks pretty cool. And then it was on sale on Steam for like $7. So I was like, all right, Randy, you want to play some games? My sister. And she was like, yeah, well, like, okay, like, let's do it. So we picked it up and we've been playing a little bit. And definitely has like it's a slower paced action RPG. Like not slow paced, but you know, it's not like Diablo 3 where there's like, you know, 60 enemies on screen and they all blow up within like 3 seconds, you know. It's a little more methodical, but not, you know, slow or anything. And what's cool is a couple different classes, and they actually like have hybrid classes. So I started out as a shaman, and then you unlock like a secondary profession or whatever, or class you can unlock and start putting skill points into that. And then, so I picked a soldier, you know, keeping with the melee theme. And then whatever my choices were, now I'm not sure exactly if it was just like those two together equal a wanderer, I believe is what my class is now, or if it's the actual skill points that I picked within those trees that warranted that new class name. But it's cool, like there's like a lot of customization, the customability off the charts.
Off the charts.
And what's cool is where Diablo is very much like you've got 6 quests in an act, you know what I mean? And like they're big and overbearing, you know, not overbearing, but like they're like, you know, you work towards them and they all sort of work towards the end boss. You kill the end boss, you move on to the next act. This is very much more like a MMO style where there's a lot of different quests going on. You've got a ton of quests at one time, and you're going by and doing it. What's cool is, though, it has some sort of Skyrim-esque progression, but like choices where, oh, I'm talking to this one person. They told me that you stole my stuff or their stuff, like, and I'm here to get it back from him. And they're like, well, no, that person's a scumbag. Like, he tried to kill my sister, so, like, you know, did this and this, like, and he's like, he's like, I hope that guy rots, you know, and then like you have the like option to be like, well, I believe him, like, and attack this dude, or to be like, oh, well, that guy's a real son of a gun, you know what I mean? And then there was like an option like
real life. This sounds like real life.
And like the third option was like, oh yeah, well, that guy's a real son of a gun, but I guess I'll just take the money then, you know?
Yeah.
And like I clicked on that one, and he's like, oh, you jerk, like, here, take it, but don't talk to me anymore, you know? So it's sort of cool to have some agency over how those things play out. And it's not just like fighting demons, you know. I went to this next area, and it's like, oh, because, you know, the society is sort of falling apart, like, you know, bandits have sort of taken over that area, and they sort of prey on anyone that's traveling on the roads. So, like, you're going up those roads, and all of a sudden you've got, like
England.
Yeah, those dirty dogs. And you know, now you're not dealing with enemies, but I mean monsters per se, but you're dealing with, you know, enemy factions. And it's even interesting when you first start, like, the town you're in, they don't like you for whatever reason, and like, because I guess you're sort of an outsider, right? And you need to build up your reputation to even be able to like purchase things from the vendors there and stuff. So pretty interesting game. I would unfortunately, the nature of just playing online with my sister is like, I haven't gotten a ton into like the actual lore of what's going on, you know. You know, those games are sort of quick moving, so unfortunately it's one of those, like, it'd be better to sort of play single player to be able to get the story. But as far as the gameplay goes, it's pretty fun, and you know, it's not like the most beautiful game, but it's got like nice, like I said, the tone, it feels more dark and gritty, which is cool.
Nice. Grim Dawn. And how old is that game?
You know what? Let's see. I want to say it came out. They announced it, and 2016.
Okay.
So it's a little old. There are a couple expansion packs for it as well, and some other DLC stuff. But I think I saw 2 like notable expansions. So, you know, presumably like added big chunks. Yeah, Grim Dawn's first expansion, Ashes of Malmuth, and second expansion, Forgotten Gods. That was actually just released in March of this year. So, you know, it's still, they're keeping up with it, it seems like.
Cool.
And,
still cooking.
Yes, she's still cooking. And it looks like it's coming to Xbox One, TBA. To be announced.
Well. Okay, well, are you done with Nintendo then?
Yes.
I think you are.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
We're putting the Nintendo back in the drawer where it belongs.
Exactly. That's where my Vita is, which is funny.
The good old
Anywho, all right. It's time to talk about a game that I cannot believe how the stars aligned for this to happen. Because last time Mick, or probably a couple times before Mick was on, we had a mystery history. If you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to it right now, and then come back and listen to this. Spoiler alert. All right.
Well, what happens if they're like, "Hey Perry, what episode's that?"
I don't know. Look it up. You can find it on NWR.
Look it up.
I'll look it up right now.
From about October, November, wasn't it?
It's really easy to look it up. I think, because I think we can look up on like right now. Mick, I'm looking up Mick Waits on our website right now. Nope, I think it was 115. There we go.
115.
115. That's when you stop by for a quick mystery history round. So go listen to that now if you want to, because I'm going to talk about this game, actually, which is amazing. That's right, mystery history. And we talked about this game called Space Station Silicon Valley.
Boom shakalaka.
Yeah, now this game I don't think we'd ever heard of it. Right, Casey?
Nope.
Like, or you know, if we did, we've forgotten about it. And you know, it's an N64 game. this old platformer. I think from like 98 or 99.
October 21st, 1998.
There you go. Hey. And anyway, it was one of your favorite games, right? And along the
essentially. If you remember, I'd never heard of it, and the company I was working for was tasked with converting it to PlayStation from
That's
N64.
Right.
And because of that, I then got to know the game fairly well inside out, and really.
And you actually completed that, right? That actually happened.
The conversion.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the game released on PS1, right?
It released, yeah. It came out under a different name of eVo Space Adventures, and it was somewhat butchered for taking out the more complicated levels that we couldn't be bothered with. And
Man, that is so funny. That's amazing.
The neutered
That's
version.
This doesn't happen anymore, does it? That kind of stuff doesn't happen anymore. Like we don't really have vastly different versions.
Not really.
Games.
I mean,
I can think of like I think that still happened around I guess where that happened was like Xbox 360 and like the Wii, like
the Wii was
the
really
standard
I
definition.
feel like the Wii
but now
was
that
the
we're in
versions,
HD, all games are kind of parody the same.
Yeah, the graphics cards all tend to work in a much more similar way these days, and it all comes down to RAM to store the high detail models and the textures, and then rendering power, I guess. So you'll get games on Switch that they don't look quite as nice as the counterparts, but unless you see them side by side, you don't really.
It's hard to tell.
They're not like. Usually all the content's there, and like all like the anyway. So I just think that's kind of a fascinating thing, like the Sega Super Nintendo days, right? With like the different Disney games, right? Wasn't there like a different Aladdin or something like that, like made by two different teams, something like that?
It sounds familiar.
And they were different games.
I go back
cool.
even way before that, when arcade games would get converted to the home computers, these Sinclair Spectrums and Commodore 64s, and they were always, each different version was done by completely different people.
And then
it's like Donkey Kong, right?
Those are really notable for when you put them side by side. Like, holy moly!
Some of the home computers anyway, there's no way they could create images the same as the other ones. Like the Spectrum, the screen display for that was very, very limited compared to, say, the Commodore 64. So you could never have them the same.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I mean, you think like Donkey Kong was on the Atari.
That's crazy.
There's a version on the Atari. It's weird. Anyway, there's also there's a version of what's that game that came out on the Switch, the old Nintendo arcade game for the first time, like
Sky Skipper?
I can't remember. Sky Skipper, yeah. There's an Atari version of Sky Skipper too, which is just so interesting. But anyway, back to Space Station Silicon Valley. So it's so funny that we were gonna have on Mick last week, but then he couldn't. But then Casey couldn't make it, so we just decided let's just save it to this week so we can all three do it.
We should. Dang internet! I want to put blame on the internet. I was ready to go.
Comcast, right? Isn't that what you said?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could finally join in on the Comcast hate train.
Casey he loves joining in on hate trains.
Well, a whole day wasted with no internet.
Anyway, I think I'm still under embargo about what I'm reviewing something called a Super 64, and it's an HD converter for the 64. And basically, I wanted to play Space Station Silicon Valley ever since. So Casey, let's rewind to December. So this game is a special game in Talk Nintendo because not only was it mystery history, it was one of the gifts that Casey got me this past Christmas that we opened up on our infamous Christmas show, and so ever since I got it, I was like, well, you can hook up like your 64, like I still like on my TV, my HD TV. It has like the yellow, white, and red inputs, right? And like, I don't know if you've ever hooked up a 64 to those, but it is awful. I mean, it is like dark mush. Like, it looks just disgusting. It's scary looking. And I was like, I just don't want to play that game like that. And I do want to, like, I know that there are some things out there like HDMI converters and stuff. And I even bought, I bought like the yellow, white, red what's that called? I can't remember what that plugin's called. Anyway, the yellow, white, and red plugin like a little converter box that converts it to HDMI off Amazon for like $12. I was like, I'll try this. It probably won't work, but I'll try it, and it didn't work at all. So, anyway, but now I this past week I'm reviewing this Super 64 thing, and you'll hear about that probably next week or the next week after. I don't know when the embargo, I can't remember. But I will talk about Space Station Silicon Valley, because now I finally have the perfect reason to talk about it and to play it, because I finally can play it in HD. And I've been immensely enjoying it. So the way, because I was always, ever since we talked about it for the Mystery History, I always thought it looked really cool. Like it was like this, because it was kind of like this lost, forgotten 3D 64 era 3D platformer that I'd never heard of, and it's like, this actually looks really, and it has this really cool mechanic of like you're this little robot deal, like spider tick thing that you basically you jump off, you possess things basically. I mean, you possess robots or animals or whatever. Are they animals, or are they robot versions of animals?
They're robot versions of animals, and you're a
that's what it
microchip.
is.
You're the only surviving
Exactly.
part of yourself after the crash, because you were a robot
Exactly.
yourself, and just the CPU survived.
Yeah, it's hilarious, right? So like the game has an amazing sense of humor. Like it really, it's funny. Like it's genuinely funny. Like your missions are hilarious. Like turn on the computer thingy, like turn on like
They don't know
like
the
turn on the big
terminology.
computer thingy. It's like it kind of has that kind of like that Pikmin-esque thing of writing how an alien would view something, So how they would like Cheeto would be like corn-based orange,
Snack.
puff snack, Anyway, so it has some stuff like that. But yeah, you're in this spaceship, and there's the scientist guy, the professor, and then the robot, and like the professor, I forgot exactly what happens, but you're listening to the radio. That's what it is. Yeah, and he's like, turn this off, and this music is too hip and too cool, and it and the robot says no, and they get in a fight, and then the robot kind of smacks him, and then he goes unconscious, and then they crash the plane. So that's the beginning of the, and then so you're, and then the little microchip, which it is a microchip, but it looks like it has like 8 legs, like it kind of like the gears kind of unfold, and you can walk around and stuff, and then so you possess little animals, and it is weird because I'm glad they're robots, because it is kind of weird. Like for instance, like you start off with a dog, and like one of the first missions is find a sheep, and get a hold of the sheep, and like you have to go and like you bite the sheep until it like dies, and it like fall, and it's like, oh my goodness, like I don't want to kill sheep, but they are robots, so it's okay. If they're robots, it's okay. And then so, but it's just so cool because it's like Mario Odyssey. I mean, it's almost exactly like Mario Odyssey.
They copied it, didn't they?
They totally did. They did.
Those cheating dogs.
No, I mean, it's just like throwing Cappy on anything, and then it has this. They have their standard thing, and then their special little thing that they can do. And there's so far I've only played like 6 missions so far, but like with that there's been like a dog, a sheep, like 3 different kinds of sheep. One of them like a weird, because they're robots, right? So one of them's like a screw sheep that like can like drill down.
Yeah,
and,
there's like a pogo
in
stick.
the water. Yeah, it's like a pogo stick. Yep.
Yeah.
And then there's a rabbit. There's a husky, a mouse. All of these, and they're really cool. They all have different things, and and the funny thing is it's really like Mario Odyssey. Like, like you find this mouse, and then once you find the mouse, and you go over this little start line, like a little race start line. And suddenly this dog comes out of the shed next to you, and it's like, what's going on? Like this little event, and he goes, "Hey, you, let's race," and then let's race around the track. And then so you race around the area, and you try to beat him, and it's just, and then it's perfect. And then like you beat him, and then like this golden mouse statue comes out of the ground. It's just so random and so weird, so wacky, so weird, but actually seriously super fun. In the same way of like, and it has a collectathon element in there too.
Well,
like,
it
there's
wouldn't be
also
an N64
Yeah.
3D
No,
platformer.
but it's like, but it's not over. But that's not the point of the game. The collectathon is a really good way just to encourage you to go around and search stuff. And it's like, okay, I need to get up there. How am I going to get up there? I bet that I get something else that can get up there. Oh, the sheep. And like, so for instance, okay, so the dog can run around, it can bark, and it can bite things to kind of, so you actually like, it's like the perfect video game quest, right? Get the sheep in the fenced in area. What do you call it? Like this, shepherd in the state, whatever. Yeah, in the pen, yeah. And it's like, so you go around and you have to nip at their heels to get them to go into the pen, and so you take control of the sheep. Well, the sheep, and this is hilarious, but the sheep can jump, and then if you hold the jump button, they like hover in the air. Like, so you can jump and like kind of float like Tanuki style.
Like, I was going to say like a Yoshi almost?
Yoshi style, yes. It's like, like Yoshi, but you don't have to keep hitting it. But yeah, just like Yoshi, exactly.
The little
like
flutter.
You hover up and down, but you can flutter, and then that's how you jump on to different platforms and you get to the areas. And the cool thing is, I'm not like really like, there is sometimes some camera issues a little bit, but honestly the controls feel really good. And that's where I think that sometimes you play those old 3D platformers and they feel dated, This one, besides having to use the N64 analog stick, which I always forget about. I always forget, like, wow, the N64 analog. I mean, it's great for its time, but like compared to anything else, like it is pretty hard to use. It feels good. The platforming feels fun, and it's really fun coming from off of Ukulele about this because it's very similar style. It really is. But the funny thing is, it's almost like more fun because of you're constantly getting new animals that you're I mean, it's just a classic go around the environment, find new stuff that can do new things to get to different places, and then do the random funny missions in the level, and then you're done. And it's all level based, but it's this big open area, and it's just a lot of fun. I mean, honestly, it's totally wacky of the era. It's funny and actually fun, and I don't know. I think it's kind of a must play for N64 fans. And it's funny. I took a picture of like my wall, and I had it up there on my wall. And Danny, the Bivs, he's like, "Is that Space Station Silicon Valley?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah!"
Bivs, that's so good.
Good old the Bivs. But so it's a game that I don't think anyone should definitely check out. It's definitely deserved of a remaster,
I agree.
It's definitely deserved of a re-release. And I don't like it, like whether that be on some sort of virtual console, like it should have been released on the virtual console. It's a really fun, quality game that I'm really much enjoying. Yeah, I would highly recommend it, Casey. It's fun. When you come visit, we'll definitely play through it. It'll be fun, and we'll stream it.
Boom, baby, I'm in.
That'll be great. And then Mick, when you need to come at the same time.
I shall do my best. I think I'm working that day.
Oh, there you go. Well, we'll stream. You can. The beautiful thing is we can stream it, and you can be like you're right there. But yeah, I highly recommend Space Station Silicon Valley for the Nintendo 64, made from Take Two, right?
I think they were the publishers, right? I think isn't it Rockstar?
Software. But I think that's pre-Rockstar, right?
I think it's basically the company that Rockstar used to be.
Because publisher Take Two, developers Rockstar North, Rockstar Lincoln.
Okay. Which makes sense why they're just heartless jerks that can just run around and kill random things.
Quite right.
Like it's basically Grand Theft Auto.
It's in their DNA.
Really what it is. Yeah, there you go.
But, that's what they were called, wasn't it? DNA Design? No, DMA. Anyway.
DMA.
Mick's making things up.
I'm not. I'm going on Wikipedia right now.
Oh, there you go. Anyway, so yeah, I believe we have one more game that was probably, well, I was gonna make some segue about how Luigi's Mansion was probably gonna be like planned on the 64, but got moved to the GameCube, but we're not talking about Luigi's Mansion. We're talking about Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon.
Let's get into the vampire talk.
Okay.
Yeah, so Dark Moon, I'm super duper early into this game, so I don't have much to talk about, but I had to talk about a little bit of Nintendo goodness, and this is a game I didn't really like when it first came out. I ended up
on the 3DS.
Yeah, I ended up playing I think I played like 6 hours worth, because it was always when you go back to that beautiful play log and it tells you like which game you played the longest, which game like on average you played the longest, and that was like the longest, because around that time I guess I just wasn't playing a lot of 3DS, so it was like that game was just in my 3DS for a long time. But yeah, it was one of those games that I didn't love the structure of the game. In the first Luigi's Mansion, it's very open. You can sort of go throughout. In New Moon, I gotta change that. The doc keeps saying New Moon. In Dark Moon, it's like mission based. So there's like a lot of like, you get in there, you do some things, and then all of a sudden you get pulled out of the mansion to, you completed this. Okay, congrats. And then you go back in and you explore a different section of the mansion, and you're sort of limited to that area. And it sort of, I feel like, took away the greatest part of Luigi's Mansion, is having that, the freedom to explore the mansion itself. And it's funny, I guess if you look at my general preference with games, you'd think I'd like the mission structure better, but with Luigi's Mansion, it wasn't such a big open world or anything. Like, it was big enough that you could explore but not, be overwhelmed. So this mission structure, yeah, it was like, don't love it. But
Honestly, another part of it, I think, is probably it being, it's not really like a handheldy game. It's kind of more like to me, I feel like it's more, obviously that 3D is more engrossing, but I think it's more of like a big screen type game. Not to draw a line there, but I know exactly what you're saying, and I kind of agree with everything that there's something about the exploration within the how long the game is. I guess it's just too long.
Yeah.
maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, and I think it's like it's like a 12-13 hour game, give or take. So, it's definitely beats.
I think it's longer than that.
Yeah, it definitely beats out, the whatchamacallit, the previous one. The original is pretty darn short. Like I was telling you earlier, it could be like 3 hours long. You know what I mean? Like, you could get through it. But I'm giving it a second try on a couple of fronts. First and foremost, it was voted for the Patreon Plays Game of the Month. So, a lot of people playing it over in Discord, and we're going to have a Patreon-exclusive podcast that sort of goes nitty-gritty into all things Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. But it's also a game I did want to revisit, especially since I'm so excited for 3 that, I felt like I had to give it another shake, right?
Yes.
So, as I was saying, I'm very early. I've only done like a mission or two, but I missed that 3D, man. Oh, baby.
Isn't it amazing?
The 3D is so good on the 3DS. It's a dang shame that like some of the later Nintendo games just completely was like, forget it. Like, we're not even gonna bother. I know that probably the 2DS being more prevalent, is probably part of that. Like, we don't really need it. But yeah, so far, like I said, it's the first mission is super hand-holdy. It's like, just let me go. But yeah, I mean, it feels good in the sense that, you're sucking up those those ghosts, and you're sort of exploring and finding some gems and stuff. It feels weird without like that second stick, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it totally is going to feel better on the Switch, having like free range of Luigi and, your vacuum at the same token, where like on the 3DS it's very much like up or down, left or right, like you don't have that full complete control, just because of how the controller is laid out, and the C stick doesn't work, sadly, or the C nub on the new 3DS XL doesn't really do anything.
Right.
But yeah, I'll probably talk a little bit more about Luigi's Mansion as I get deeper into it, and then probably save the lion's share for when we get over onto that good old Patreon Plays podcast. But I am happy to dust off that old 3DS, jam back in there.
Dude, isn't it amazing?
Yeah, man. I've always loved my 3DS, so I'm always happy to go back and give it a little play,
Yeah, man. It's such a good system. Yeah. So look forward to the Patreon Plays podcast, which let's see, which tier is it? It's our $5 tier.
That would be to join in on the call. If for just $1, you get access to all of the Discord channel and everything,
but
where it's all the discussions.
If you're listening to this right now and you want to be on the podcast, if you go and if you are a contributor, $5 tier, you can actually be on that podcast, which would be really cool.
You can talk to Jimmy about some Luigi.
Yep, I'd like to join that podcast,
but you won't.
But I won't, because Casey won't let me.
Because I don't have no time.
I can. Well, I don't know. Maybe I won't be. When is that?
End of the month.
Of this month, right? I might be pretty busy.
Yeah.
But the end of the month.
Yep.
That workload,
Jimmy's gonna gym. You don't need to lie to me.
Yep. All right. Well, on that note, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, it's the eShop Roundup.
Sun shining through my window. It gleams like honey, so golden and so sweet. You can almost taste it. Driving through Diamond City, I wanna escape.
And we are back for the new eShop Roundup LL.
Ooh-wee.
The new eShop Roundup. eHaw.
So, Perry,
The winner.
do you have Zivina?
We have Zivina. That's right. And that is of our last giveaway, which is for Selma and the Wisp from last week. This really cool looking platformer. And this is Samet Akutan.
Mr. Akutan?
And yes, it's at Blogutan. Blogutan. And he's our winner this week. Woohoo!
Woo-wee!
So good job, and thank you for entering. There was 40 entries this week, so there you go. I gotta say, 1 out of 40 chance. It's a pretty good odds. Like compared to any lottery, it's
Now, only
Casey
if it
plays
was
the
for
lottery.
$1 million.
Mick, do you have the lottery over in England?
We have far too many lotteries now. We started with one in about 97, which my wife got the third best prize on within the first few weeks of it opening, before I knew her. And since then, they've introduced far too many new games, and I think they seem to think that the more options they gave people of winning, the more money they'd get in from people just buying more and more tickets. But I think people just spread the money over the different ones instead. So they keep having to revamp it to try and make the prizes worthwhile.
It's a pretty ingenious little scheme they got going. They got Jimmy over here. He's just waiting for his lucky day.
I haven't bought a lottery ticket in a while, to be honest.
Well, you gotta be in it to win it.
Yeah, you gotta be in it to win it. I've had some success with the $10 scratch off, but man, there's nothing worse than losing a $10 scratch off. You're like, you know what that could have been? A delicious cheeseburger and fries and the works. And I'm hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
But we have of course, we give away a game each week, and this week we do have Mick Waits here, and he has released a couple games on the Switch that we've talked about many a time. And so, which game are we giving away this week, Mick?
Well, I think it makes sense to give away Miles and Kilo, since one thing I didn't mention earlier is the version 1.2 patch launched on Switch the end of last week.
Casey, have you seen this?
I have not.
Oh my goodness, this is so cool. Okay, yeah, we're gonna give away Miles and Kilo. Heck yeah.
Ooh-wee.
Now, explain the patch real quick.
So the first thing
It's
we added
really
to
cool.
the patch was a assist mode. So like in some of the
Is it a
Mario
Casey
games,
mode?
if you lose too many lives, a little dragon fruit item appears at the start of the level. If you collect that, you can double jump and just smash your way through any enemies. You're invulnerable, basically.
So cool.
Just
it
about.
looks so cool too.
So that people who've been struggling and got stuck, this will probably help them get to the next level. And the other feature, which only took about 3 weeks of my life, so please make use of it. We've implemented online leaderboards for the Switch version, which is something I've not really dabbled with before, doing online stuff. So yeah, it was a good experiment. I've enjoyed doing it, and there's people already on there who've knocked me off the top spot. So
Boom.
Now, is that time or points?
there's 4 different boards. There's the number of times you've actually completed the game, which is just basically how much a measure of how much you love it. And then there's
Oh, man.
3 that are based entirely around the time attack mode, which unlocks after you've played the main story mode. So there's one for the fastest completion time. So if you're a speedrunner, this is the one for you.
Heck yeah.
What's the record right now? Do you have that? What's it around?
I don't have my Switch in front of me to check.
Oh, I can check. So can I check on mine then?
Go on, I'll give you permission. Yeah.
Well, I didn't like. Is it something you can easily just check?
Oh yeah.
got
Yeah,
it.
it's on
Do
the
you
main
have the
menu.
patch
just pull up
downloaded?
leaderboards. Sorry,
Anyway,
I was being.
I'll get it. I'll get it. I mean, it might be a little later, but
And then
anyway, yeah, that's cool.
the other ones are the highest scoring time attack mode, and the last one is the fewest deaths. So I don't know if we've got anyone on Zero on Switch yet for that one, but there are on other platforms. There's quite a few people on Zero on Xbox. So come on, Switch players,
Heck yeah, man.
make us
Heck
proud.
yeah, that's so cool. Well, so go and retweet our giveaway.
Click
You'll
that
see
description
big,
button.
beautiful Miles and Kilo icon with Miles and his dog Kilo running on the tropical island towards the camera. It's such a great icon, by the way. Great icon. And I can't wait to whoever. And you know what? It's so funny. This last couple weeks, I was like, you know what? I really just want to play through that game again. So I'm going to do that.
Now you've got a good excuse to.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and it can be
You
for
can
any
see how
region. The
bad
code.
he is compared to the rest of the world.
Maybe I can. What's that to you? Okay, well, it's time for our picks of the week.
Picks of the week.
So, I don't think a lot of games released this last week.
You know what it is, or was, I should say. It's because we recorded on Friday morning.
Oh, that's right.
So last week's
That's
eShop
right.
Roundup, we jumped the gun on what would probably have been this week's eShop Roundup picks. That's why I've only got one game. I see you still managed to get a runner-up because our
That's
pool our pool was smaller this time around.
This actually might have been from last week too, but that's okay, because that counts because it still looked kind of cool. Real quick before we get into that, I want to mention I did open up the leaderboards, and you can. It's cool. It has the top. Like I'm looking at the top 8 for time attack, and it highlights Mick because he's a friend of mine. It shows your friends.
Boom.
Like it highlights.
Indeed, it does.
That's really cool. So yeah, the number 1 is 17 minutes and 11.5 seconds, where Mick is on number 4. He's number 4 at 18 minutes 48.9 seconds. So I'm gonna be probably 120th.
Working away.
But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, cool.
If you look on that, Oceanic Mike, he's the original developer.
Oh, Mike. Okay, good. It is Mike. That's good. So you just have Nevada and Floof in between there.
That dang floof.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's good that Mike. We gotta get Mike on the show sometime. Seriously.
He's. I don't think he likes public appearances.
Oh, that's okay. That makes sense. But we're just gonna gush about his.
He
games.
just
We're not
doesn't like Perry.
gonna- Okay, that's
We said we wouldn't say that.
that's right. You know what? Yeah. Okay, so picks of the week. This has been a fun episode. Yeah, Attack of the Toy Tanks. Attack of the Toy Tanks. I'm a sucker for tank games. I've always loved tank games. There's something about the simplicity of them. I think that moving around, shooting, and this is a top-down looking game. And it's set in like a toy, like of course it says the toy tanks. I don't know what the tack part is, but it's set kind of like a kid's toy, like toys, and it looks just like good old clean fun. And it's $5, and I think it's even on sale for $3.99 right now. So yeah, I would check this game out. I'm assuming it's a local multiplayer game. I probably should. Yeah, you can play with 2 players. So it just looks cute. It's from Ratalaika Games. Do you know how to pronounce that, Mick?
I say Ratalaika.
Ratalaika.
That's what I think it is. He's a good guy.
Big pet peeve
He's
of
helped me a
mine.
lot on some of my Sony development answers. When I've been stuck on things, I've contacted him, and he's a good guy.
Yeah, he.
Did you know that coming in?
Pet peeve
Perry?
of mine.
Did you know that that Mick knew him, or is that just?
No, I didn't. No, I mean, I know I have a few. I know some people that know him, so yeah, but I don't. Yeah. Anyway, pet peeve of mine, not having a name that's phonetic. You know, like 4 horses. There you go. It's 4. It's not. Four. It's actually pronounced Four.
Yeah.
Four horses. It's not the number 4. It's just Four horses. Anyway, Attack of the Toy Tanks, really good. We're really waffling here.
That's all right.
That's okay.
Waffle away.
Okay. And I'll go ahead. Why don't you give your pick of the week then?
All right, my pick of the week, Cyrilim 3. Cyrilim 3.
Sure.
Cyrilim.
Yeah, see?
Cyralim 3 for the beautiful, beautiful price of $14.98. This is, quote unquote, the ultimate monster catching RPG. Over 700 monsters. You can not only collect them, but you can breed them. It looks like a cute little, like, you know, obviously sort of a Pokemon style game, right?
It's like a.
But not necessarily in looks.
Yeah.
It's much more retro looking. You know, especially I guess compared to the more modern Pokemon. But yeah, like the battles, like the monsters have interesting designs. You know, it looks like it could be a cute little RPG. And
it's the 3rd one of these.
Yeah, you know, it's been
wow.
It's got such a great response. This has, I guess,
since I'm in pet peeve. If you both are looking at screenshots, and if anyone looks this up, scaling sprites is not a good thing. I don't like that. I don't like when sprites are different sizes. And this has this, you know, like you'll set that big. I just think it sticks out. Also, the menu design, the font, and it's like the alignment and stuff. And there's different, like on the same screen, there are different fonts, literally like in the same text box, and that's just a big no-no. But anyway, that's just on that side for me. For the design side,
Perry's shooting down my pick of the week.
Well, what's funny is like the picture, it looks really cool, right? Like that first picture, like with like the key art and stuff, with all the monsters and stuff on it, looks really cool. And the art design, like the colors, does look cool. But do you know what I'm talking about with like the different?
I see what
I'm talking about. Anyway, $14.98.
Yeah, strange.
There you go. And then my pick of the week is Hyperlight Ultimate.
Ooh,
Hyperlight Ultimate.
That game, that game looks pretty cool.
I think that we have this game or a version of this on 3DS that we talked about one time, or it looks a lot like it. Very like Geometry Wars looking shooter, right? Is it a twin stick shooter? Kind of looks like a twin stick shooter.
I'm not exactly sure, but
I can't tell. I can't tell if they're always, but it's multiplayer. It's up to 4 players. It's just one of those games where a billion things is happening on the screen, but it looks really nice, like very neon looking, you know, like bright and just crazy, and kind of like it definitely needs like a seizure warning, you know, at the beginning of it. But,
play
it's a
at
pretty
your
cool
own
game.
risk.
Yep, it's $8.99. Are you ready to sprint into the fastest, frantic, and insane high-intensity experience that Hyperlight has ever offered? I don't know. But it's exclusively on the Switch.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
To be honest, I'm just not quite sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so that will do it for. Unless Mick, do you have a pick of the week?
Well,
Miles and Kilo.
if it's for games that are out by the time this podcast broadcasts, then yeah, I'd go
Sure.
for Eagle Island.
Eagle Island?
Yeah, have you seen that one on the eShop? It's
No.
sort of a Metroidvania-looking platform adventure with amazing pixel artwork. And that's all I
Okay,
need to know
you've-
about it to know that it's clearly going to be great.
I did see an announcement for this game, and I think I did see. Oh wow, yeah. You're right. This is coming out this week?
Yeah, on the 11th.
Oh,
I think
wow.
it says.
This looks really, really, really neat. I did see a trailer for this, and yeah,
I'd seen it
Perry,
on
you
Twitter
looked
when
that
it
up.
was
Perry,
in
you gonna buy it
development.
right now?
yeah.
I'd seen it when it was
I have no time for
in
games.
development on Twitter, and they were showing it off at EGX when I was down there last year. So I sort of went over and said, please tell me you haven't got a Switch version of this coming, because I'd quite like to assist you with that. But obviously they did have.
Oh yeah, that's
They're
so
way
funny.
ahead of you.
You're the only guy asking people like, you're not bringing it to Switch, right? Because I want the opportunity to bring it to Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Cool, good pick. Eagle Island, check it out. It's $19.99. It's coming July 11th, 2019. I don't even know what is today.
Today is the
Right.
9th.
So
the
the-
9th.
So the day that this podcast releases. So go check it out. That definitely looks like a game that will make its rounds, and I bet you'll hear from other people about it. So
Yeah.
cool. Well, the eShop Roundup is done, which means that it's time for the
News Talk with Cassie Gibbons.
Yes, sir. And I believe earlier you teased something, wasn't that, Perry?
I did, but before that, there's a tease before the tease.
Double tease.
And I'm guessing that you didn't listen to last week's episode.
Nope.
There might have been. You might want to go listen to a certain jingle that might have just happened on last week's episode. I'm just saying, everyone else just heard it. You haven't heard it. You might not be prepared for it.
Oh boy.
So I'm just saying, it might be a remastered version.
Remaster
But,
of the news block.
It actually was in honor of Shad Welch, which is a great listener of ours. It's for his birthday. He asked me if I could make a new jingle, and I happily obliged. Funnily enough, I'm pretty sure Estuardo asked the same thing, like a long time ago, and I just completely I was like, no. No, I know.
Screw you, Estuardo.
I think I just totally had forgotten about it, and then now it came back. So there you go. Check it out. But yes, we did tease a world exclusive. Now, we talked a lot about the 3DS earlier with Luigi's Mansion, and we also did talk a lot about Miles and Kilo. Now, you know what would be perfect, Casey?
Well, I don't know, Perry. What would be perfect?
It would be perfect if Miles and Kilo came out on the Vita. I think that would
I
be.
think it's already out.
really good.
Your dreams have come true.
No. It's not
No.
out yet.
Nope, I
Not
lied.
yet.
That's a kid trip. I'm working on it right now. In between
Yep,
talking,
all
can
right.
you hear me on the keyboard?
Yeah.
There you go. Yep. Yeah, he's working on it right now.
That's
He doesn't
me
have that much
working
time. No, it would be cool to see Miles and Kilo on the 3DS. I think that, especially with that stereoscopic 3D.
Oh man.
Right?
She'd be a beaut, that's for sure.
I
It'd be
agree.
cool if
I
that were
would
to
love
happen.
to see that.
You know what?
Well, make
I
it
think
happen.
I literally just saw that. I think he just held it up to the Skype. Yes, that's right. We're all teasing it. We're all joking around. Miles and Kilo is coming to the 3DS.
Yeah. I
Because now, could you go ahead, Mick, and explain what happened and why it's coming and stuff?
Well, I mean,
It's
it
a fun
was
story.
it was in doubt for a while as to whether I would make it for the 3DS or not, because Miles and Kilo originally is written in a language that doesn't run on the 3DS, C#, and there's no engine available, or the engine that's used for it, which is Monogame. There's no way to get that running on the 3DS, but there is on just about every other system. And it makes sense if you've got a fully working game in one language to just use that same code base for every version, so that if you make changes on one, you're not having to change that and copy it over to different code bases. So once I'd finished with Kid Trip on Sony systems, I wanted to work on Miles and Kilo next, and I actually sort of started trying to prepare for the process in about October last year, and to this day I'm still not in a position where I can even compile the game using the original monogame engine. So I've sort of abandoned that, and I'm now doing what I wasn't planning to do, which is rewriting the game line by line from scratch in C++ to run on my in-house engine, the one that was used for Kid Trip, and purely for Vita and PS4. But the very nice side effect of that is it also runs on 3DS. So
boosh!
Heck yeah, man.
Absolutely. And I'm actually,
So dreams can come true.
I've actually set it up as well so that whenever I add a new graphic to the screen, get it to draw something new. Because at the minute it's only rendering part of the main menu. If I try and run it without setting a 3D depth for any graphic element, it actually refuses to run. So
Yes, that's what all devs should have.
So
in their dev.
the 3DS version is very much the primary driver now for this. So
Oh,
Heck yeah,
awesome,
dude.
Dude, that's so awesome. I cannot wait.
I do
Booyah.
not see the point of doing a 3DS game and not doing 3D graphics.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
exactly.
Well, it's good to
Well-
know that Mick is not a monster.
I know. Remember when Jules was first on, before Chicken Wiggle, like the first time, we did talk about it, and like at that time he was like gonna make Chicken Wiggle without 3D, and I remember I was like, oh no,
Don't do it.
I genuinely was like, no, like you can't do that, and he ended up not being a monster as well, and I would have done the same thing. But the thing is see Mick, he's so smart. He made it impossible, like to do.
But believe me, every time when I've been running it, it goes, nope, you've not set the 3D depth on this. It's like, I've made it. Should I have put that in? But no, it would have been an absolute pain to go and retrofit it in all the places where I'd have forgotten to do it. So
Yeah, and so you have, I mean, I guess Digger Dan is 4 horses, right?
yeah, that's entirely me.
Okay.
Pretty
So you have,
basically.
that's right. So you have that, and that has excellent 3D, and then you have Kid Trip,
Yeah,
which is excellent, which is so funny because I remember when Casey, did you review Kid Trip?
He did.
Yep. Yes, I did.
That's right. And it was just like, remember when that came out? Like we saw that on the eShop Roundup, which is so
I think
funny.
that was
It's
an
like we saw
instant
that,
purchase. It was
and
one
we're
of
like,
those-
man, look at that! It's so cool,
Yeah.
you know. And it's so cool that now we're to the point where the sequel's coming out, and we're showing it off exclusively.
Yeah, I've gone back and actually listened to that episode as well, and it was before we'd ever spoken to each other. So it's really nice to hear people speaking honestly about your game without feeling
Right?
any debt towards you, like they've got to be nice because they know you. So yeah, it's really
Exactly. So
I blew my opportunity to talk trash.
good. Yep.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, because I remember I was actually really interested in the game too, so I was listening to. He was kind of reviewing it for me, and I remember it being like, well, for Kid Trip, being like, it's amazing, and the only thing that you could say that you didn't like about it was that how short it was.
Yeah.
You know, it's done. It's you know,
But
you
you
want
know,
more.
it's
But to
a
me,
nice brisk bite. You know, but it's
it's
like
like,
a
yeah.
plentiful, like tastes beautiful. You know,
There's nothing worse than a game that overstates its welcome. So, and I think that Miles and Kilo is the exact same way. So, Miles and Kilo, I've said it on the show, it's a 10 out of 10 game for me. So I love it. I can't wait to play in 3DS. What I want to see is I want to see a physical version of it on the 3DS,
limited runs.
which is just insane. I know it's insane.
I want to see the same thing. I'd love to.
It would be cool to have a 4. I guess it
well,
would
that
be
you could do like what the Atui collection,
what Jules
right?
is doing. Yeah,
The 4 horse.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have 3. You need a 4th horse though.
you could put Digger Dan on there too.
Well, Digger Dan.
Could you though?
Kid Trip.
In
Could
theory.
you do that? Yeah.
Then you'd
In
have
theory-
Miles
The
and
thing is,
Kilo.
you'd almost would need one more game.
Well, that's what I'm
to
saying.
make it
You
four
need the
games
fourth
for the four
horseman.
horses.
But, I
That's
mean,
right.
there's a lot of sense in that, other than the fact that by the time I could write a fourth game, the 3DS will be forgotten.
Yeah, it'll never be
Yeah.
forgotten.
It's pretty crazy that a Tui collection's coming out. It's just, but, dude, I know. I wish there was a 4DS coming out.
There's
I
still
so
hope,
wish
baby.
that.
There's still hope.
There is still hope. There's still hope.
Yeah.
Nintendo's wacky,
Yep.
but it's not happening. But, dude, I'm really excited for Miles and Kilo to come
Maybe
out.
the
3DS. I know
4DS
that,
will actually just be the Switch successor, and the 4 will stand for 4K.
Oh. There you go.
There you have it.
You going to bet your life on it, Casey?
Yeah, I mean, I've got nothing to lose, right?
Yeah. Your life is already in my hands.
It's already
so
gone.
That's beautiful.
Well,
Well,
a lot of hours
yeah,
of your life could be gone playing this next game, Perry,
that's right.
which I have a feeling you won't be playing. And that is Fire Emblem Three Houses. It is now via the game director. He says 80 hours for each house.
Ugh.
Which now that totally
That's if you do like
Yeah,
the
that totally-
relationship dating sim in it.
well,
I'm sure.
I'm sure that's an integral part of the game as well. But I'm thinking that's probably like, the devs and directors, they're going to overpromise. So maybe it's 40 to 50 hours, but that's still a beefy campaign. And then especially if it's for
Is that 240 hours then?
I guess that's what they're claiming, right?
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
what's with Fire Emblem, man? It's so funny. It's like Awakening came out, and then it did really good, and it's like, okay, make 13 Fire Emblem games.
hey man, they've all been selling though, so you
know.
can't defeat their logic. They got
I know, but do that with Advanced Wars.
yeah,
and
but
then-
you don't
and
get
then-
the waifus in Advance Wars,
Yeah, what a shame.
and people love their
what
waifus.
an
man.
ultimate shame. I don't like my waifus.
The power of waifu. I'm telling you, man. Like people love anime and they love being able to shack
What's a
'em up.
waifu?
A waifu? That's your girl, man.
What is it?
That's your waifu.
Is that really what it is? It's a girl?
Well, it's like your wife. You're like your anime waifu. You've never heard of that
Okay.
before?
I still don't. I've never really played a game with that in it. So I don't really understand it. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just like a romantic.
It's kind of like anime. Like anime is kind of weird because it's like what qualifies as anime? Japanese animation, is that what anime is? You know what I
I
mean?
guess, yeah. Well, waifu
kind of a
is
weird
just
thing,
like
you know?
you're like, oh, like in like Persona, like which person did you end up marrying? You know, that's your waifu. Anyway,
It's just weird. Like who cares?
a lot of people.
Why?
Because what do you mean? Why?
It's weird.
Why do you enjoy platformers? You know,
Because they're fun.
people have fun picking their waifus.
I know. I don't see how that'd be fun though.
For you, you sex
Mick,
pervert.
do you have any waifus?
Not with me in this room.
All right.
No,
them in the bag.
it's not something I've ever encountered either.
Yeah. So I just don't know about it. So
We've got
But yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
do you like waifus, Casey? Do you enjoy that aspect?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not like my end all be all, you know. But like playing Awakening, like you've played Awakening, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, you've picked a waifu before. Who'd you get married to?
No.
And have your
I
child
don't remember
with?
picking. I don't remember doing that at all. So it's like maybe like that's what's weird about it to me. It's like you mean like part of the game where that, but it's like
It's just like, all right, so
that-
in Awakening, right? Your main character shacks up, and then you guys have a child that comes from the future and fights with you, right? It's like technically, like that would be like your waifu. You got married to the
but like that's just a part of the story. Like,
exactly.
why is that like?
But people love the like relationship aspect of it.
Okay.
So it's like,
All right.
oh, I love this character. Like she's my favorite girl,
Interesting.
you know, my waifu.
That's just weird. Like, why is it called waifu?
I don't-
Like, I don't know why. It's just a weird. It's just weird
I mean-
to me.
Girlfriend, wife.
Yeah.
Waifu.
All right.
I don't know. I can't
All right.
tell you the origins of it. But anyway, yeah. I mean,
So yeah, I think Mick would say that. Then what's the virtual in-laws?
you just add in-law
What
you.
Isn't that Mick? Didn't
Who?
you say like You don't have multiple wives because you need to have twice the in-laws or something like that. That was a
yeah,
joke he made at one
what's the
point.
punishment for bigamy? It's multiple in-laws.
That's right.
I was going to
that's
say
what it
more
is.
than one. Jeez, there's not enough time in the day.
Exactly.
I'm perfectly
So-
okay with just one. Anyway, moving along here to some more anime. Well, not quite anime. Pokemon. In Pokemon, it was sort of announced.
How's Pokemon not anime?
Well, I mean, the game isn't really anime, but I guess it sort of is. Regardless, not all
See,
Pokemon will
exactly,
be available
Casey.
in Sword and Shield.
That's right.
Even via the bank. So, like, if you pay for the bank, or which I guess it's going to be Pokemon Home, right? That's like the new version of it coming. Even if you have Pokemon that, you know, from previous gens in your bank, you won't be able to bring them to Sword and Shield, or specific ones, not all of them, obviously. And I guess it came down to sort of being like, hey, you know, this is a new game. Like, you know, we need all these new assets. Like, we want to make the animations good and everything. So instead of just like rushing,
I think that's a bunch of
Yeah.
complete bullcrap. I think that's a bunch of complete bullcrap.
Now, do you think this is an egregious party foul? Like, they should be ashamed of themselves for not allowing all these Pokemon?
I don't
or?
get it. I don't. It's like Pokemon is one of the biggest games in the world. You have so many resources. How can you not? It's like, how can you not keep up with this? And and it's so important to the fan base. It's a very interesting thing to me, and it's just so. And like I said, Game Freak, they are so lazy. Like the laziest remastering port thing ever was the, not that it was bad, but just lazy.
Well,
was that,
here's the thing. There is 807 Pokemon, not including
Yeah.
the new Pokemon. So is
Yeah.
is it to be expected moving forward, right? With every iteration. Now, obviously, right, so this is through 7 generations. So you're averaging over 100 Pokemon per generation. Is it to be expected that just with every generation, every single Pokemon should be in that game? So, like, you know, 10 years from now when they're on generation whatever it is, you know, like, all 1,700 Pokemon should absolutely be in that game.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say because I don't think, like, especially now, like with models and stuff, like, it's not, they should be able to make assets that can be reused in the future.
Well, I bet you moving
what I mean?
forward, like, I guarantee, I don't want to say guarantee, but I would imagine the next generation on Switch, so this will be Gen 8, so Gen 9, you know, will reuse those ones, and maybe that one does feature all of the Pokemon, or like a more, you know, a bigger selection.
Yeah, I just think that it's like, hey, you have this franchise, and the whole point is got to catch them all. A big part of it is collecting and getting all of the Pokemon. And it's really weird that how suddenly now you're just saying, oh, you know what? It's too much work. We're not going to do all of them. Please understand. And I just think it's like, it's not like we're talking about, I cannot think of Star Fox here, you know. It's like this is Pokemon. You know, it's kind of a big deal, and it's kind of ruins the whole mood of that. Like, there's this whole huge set of Pokemon out there, and I want to collect them all, but now I can't, you know. I just say that's the game. And so I think that if you're going to create this thing, you might have to be the, you know, I guess it's just kind of finally come to it's come to this, basically. You know, so I don't know. I mean, I understand it. I don't care personally, but I think that it is kind of a shame because and then like you know, they're coming out, like Game Freak's coming out saying that Pokemon is like their back burner game, which, like, did you hear that? Like,
No.
Like they have 2 teams. Their first team is developing new stuff, and their second team is doing their Pokemon.
That's got to be incorrect. Like, I can't imagine they would put the A team not on the big Pokemon game. Although, granted, Pokemon has become pretty cookie cutter. I mean, it's always been pretty cookie cutter, right? In the sense of how it operates, you know? Like, oh, you know, I feel like it's pretty formulaic at this point. I don't know. It seems like weird though, because obviously that's where they make all their bread and butter.
Yep, they said Team 1 and Team 2. Team 1 is Gear Project, which works on developing original game properties. Team 2 is the Pokemon team.
Maybe they just want to make Team 1 feel better. Like, we'll give you the number 1 even though you guys are a bunch of losers.
Yeah.
Town, man. Where's Town?
Exactly. I don't know.
Team 1, hard
just,
work.
Pokemon's... Mick, you ever played Pokemon?
A little bit. I think I tried to get into one of the original Game Boy games many years after it launched. But I was at an age when Pokemon first came out that it just didn't really appeal to me, didn't really grab me. So I've never got on that train really.
Yeah, they're really cool. And I think, Casey, the other weird part of this whole thing is the whole Pokemon Bank, you know?
Yeah, like, that's the, like, to me, I don't care
it's like,
that all the Pokemon aren't available, but I'm also not the guy paying for bank to keep my Pokemon coming through. So I can see where they would be, like, upset and annoyed. But at the same token, to me, it's like, you know what? And even so, I feel like with Pokemon Let's Go, it was really my, like, come to moment where it was like, you know what? I feel like, especially, like, oh, I replayed this, like, I end up with the same few Pokemon, right? Like, I gravitate towards those, where, like, this will be like, hey, now you can't go, you know, use this Pokemon you've always used, like, go try something new, you know? And, like, that was with my Let's Go. I was like, I'm going to try playing with a bunch of Pokemon that I've not played with before, like my Graveler, R.I.P. Oh, that poor guy.
that poor
and
guy.
like the Grimmer, right? Or whatever the heck it is.
Grimer.
Like, all those Pokemon I don't normally use, I was trying to sort of shuffle in. So I think with this, it's like, hey, if I can't sort of fall back on commonplace Pokemon, it's like I'm going to have to go out there and find some new ones, you know?
See, this is why I love you, Casey, because the eternal optimist, Cassie Gibbons.
Yep.
Which I
we finally,
I have to.
Speaking of which, we finally had a win, Perry, last night. New York Sports finally had a W.
Oh, really?
Big Pete Alonso won the home run derby. It was amazing.
There you go. See? And it's all, yeah. So, I mean, I know sitting here looking for the that is a good pro, and that's a good point, Casey, that, you know, try out new stuff. And it's kind of like Splatoon 2.
Yeah, and I feel like you said, most of these
like Salmon
people...
Run being available only at certain times.
Yeah,
just let me do what I want to do.
I bought the game, dang it.
Yeah,
I guess
that's
what would be annoying too is like the people probably upset about this are the ones that want to play competitively, right? So it's like they've and again where it's like, hey,
and the people who bought Pokemon Bank on their 3DSs, that, like, you know, that was like a thing for
they pay yearly.
Like, what's
I think
the
that's
whole
like
point of this thing? It's like it's bizarre.
I think it's $5 a year.
Yep.
But yeah,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, but we are done with the news block, and we are going to get into the Twitch Lagoon. Twitch Lagoon.
Yes. We've got some good stuff going over on Twitch. First off, we got affiliated. So now a Nintendo World Report, not TV, just Nintendo World Report on Twitch. We can get your subs now. We can get them Twitch Prime subs, which is pretty cool. But
those are cool.
Yeah,
I subbed.
Yeah, we
during your
no,
stream.
You didn't. Jill did.
Jill did, actually. She has the Amazon Prime. If anyone has Amazon Prime, just who has it, you know, and you just use it, there is a thing that you could do completely for free for us, and it'd be awesome. And because you just go to Twitch Prime, and you can go to Nintendo World Report on Twitch, and you can sub to us. You get one free every month, and it's like $5.
Yeah, it's free
normally,
$5,
but you get one for free.
Well, I was gonna say, and even if you don't give it to us, give it to somebody. You know, don't let it go to waste.
Yeah,
it's like it's part of your benefit. Of course, we want it.
Give it to us.
Of course, we want it. But no, I mean, honestly, it's like I love watching streamers, so it's like, if you don't give it to us, give it to somebody. But
it is cool. So,
but yeah, we did the stream last Saturday. That was really fun. I played a bunch of levels, viewer and listener levels that were sent in. This week we've got quite the weekend of streaming lined up. I'm going to be streaming 11 a.m. Eastern on Friday. That's the day after this goes live. I'm going to be streaming good old Dragon Quest Builders 2. Launching that day, I'm going to be firing up from the get-go and playing a couple hours over on twitch.tv/Nintendo World Report. Then, I'm thinking Saturday night, we're going to be doing some more streaming of viewer and listener levels. 8 p.m.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to probably do another hour or two of
look
that.
at you.
And then Sunday, we've got Metal Mario Chef. We've talked about this show before. It's sort of a riff on Iron Chef, right? Where myself and Neil give the contestants a rule set, and they have 30 minutes to create a level, and then we judge that level, and we crown a winner. What's really cool is Perry's going to be back. Xander's going to be back.
Oh,
Matthew's going to be back. And we have a special guest. Andre from Game Explain is going to be joining in on the Building Fun. So that's going to happen 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, twitch.tv/Nintendo World Report. You won't want to miss it. You won't want to miss it. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. So definitely come hang out. Like I said, you want your levels played, come on and hang out with us on Saturday. You want to see Builders 2? Boom. Friday. And if you want to see Perry make a poop level, well, that's coming to your live Sunday night. Shawam.
All right.
Twitch Lagoon. There you go. Now get out of my lagoon.
Now get out of my... It's the Casey from the Twitch Lagoon.
Huh?
Creature from the Black Lagoon. Get it?
Nope.
Never mind.
Right over my old head.
Right over your old
My
head.
big piece.
All right. Now, before we head out, we're going to talk real quick about a game that we really haven't given too much talking time to. And that is Link's Awakening on the Switch. The first time I really played through Link's Awakening was when it released on the 3DS Virtual Console. That's kind of and I know that's actually a pretty long time ago now. It's probably like, 7 years ago? Something like that.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
But, yeah, it's crazy.
You old man.
And it's an incredible game. Obviously, this was the DX version for the Game Boy Color. And I've never played the original, but I don't think there's too big a difference, but it's a very weird Zelda game. It has side-scrolling sections. It has Goombas and Piranha Plant. Or no,
Luigi's in there.
Chain Chomps. Is Luigi in
yep,
there?
And I'm pretty sure Mr. Right from SimCity.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
They've got all
Yoshi
sorts
in there as well.
Yeah, so it's a lot of weirdness, but Mick, it's one of his favorite Zelda games.
It is my actual favourite Zelda game, possibly because it was the first one that I ever played through, that I ever put any serious time into. But I don't know, just that sort of game on a Game Boy, it seemed very innovative at the time. Such a huge game technically to be played on such a small portable system. But
right? It was supposed to be like Link to the Past, but like on the Game Boy, and it really feels like that.
yeah, it does. I think I actually played Link to the Past more. I played that quite a long time after I'd actually finished Link's Awakening. But everything about it, I just absolutely love, from the just low color graphics to the fantastic chiptunes. The Zelda music coming out of the Game Boy speakers, just awesome. I love every part.
That's right, and we just used that recently on Mystery Reversary.
Yeah, I spotted it straight away on the first clue, which is very, very unusual for me. But yeah, I was quite pleased.
Cool. Yeah, it's a fantastic, and I love the Game Boy instrument chiptune. I love how those sounds, and it's just a really fun game. And the thing is Casey, you've never played it.
No, I've probably played, a very insignificant amount of it, but for me.
Nope, you never played
it, Jimmy. For me, it sort of falls into the camp of the Oracle and like season, Oracle games, where it's like the menuing is so bad, just because obviously due to the limitations of the system, right?
Yeah,
and it's like
yeah.
I need to jump into my menu like way more than I want to, and like switch items.
Yeah.
And like I think
it is bad.
I think it'd be better, like, right, because the sword and shield, they're A and B essentially, right? You assign them to a button as well. So I feel like it would be so much better if those were just automatically like A, B, you know what I mean, or whatever, where you didn't need to unequip those and you could still equip another item. It's like the fact that you need to juggle in that. So it's like, all right, I need to go into the menu, get this item I need to complete this challenge here, and then after that, I need to pull my sword back out so I can attack the enemy, And it's just like, to me, it's just super tedious. And like I said, I know it's sort of obviously due to the limitations of, what they were working with at the time. So that's why I'm super stoked to get into Link's Awakening on the Switch, because it would be a Nintendo thing. We wanted to stay faithful to the original the original source material, so you'll need to juggle your items. Like, no.
Yes.
But yeah, and it looks so cute.
That better not.
Cutesy wootsy, baby.
But actually, I think I did see some. I think that's already proven wrong. I think you have 2 items plus sword and shield. I think, or at least sword.
Yeah, so. No, I imagine it'll be
better for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mick, what are like some things like when you? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you have some good old fashioned video game nostalgia for this game. Are there anything that you can think of that like when you think about playing it, like what's the first thing, like the music, the setting?
The music, I can summon the music to my mind just by thinking about it. But I guess the thing that sticks with me the most is the ending, because it was the first video game that I think the story actually made me feel any emotion, which was sort of quite a bit of a shock at the time, because I'm not usually that caught up in the story of games. I just want to play them. I just want to smash things.
Right.
But definitely the story. But like I say, just being overwhelmed by how amazing it was to be playing a game like that on a portable system.
Yeah, you're right, and that was a big. I mean, that concept, because I think about back then with pre-Switch days, which scary to think about, but. No, just, that was such a big divisive thing, right? It's like, I wish that games could be like their console games. I wish, one day the handheld games will be like
on
console,
par,
when you play Game Boy game, like on par. And I guess it's kind of like look at Super Mario Land compared to like Super Mario World or even Super Mario Bros. It's like, you can see like there's just kind of like the weird version of it, but this seemed like a total legit version of Zelda, like totally
it wasn't
Zelda.
hamstrung, you know what I mean, by the platform itself. And yeah, I mean, I guess this came out in the original Game Boy, right? So during the Super Nintendo, so it felt like the Link to the Past, but on a portable, which it looks incredible. Yeah, it's like, oh my god, and I feel like a lot of people talk about it, like sort of how Mick said, sort of being a game changer. It was like, generally on Game Boy, it's like, all right, there were a lot of smaller experiences, puzzle games, like arcade, like score attack games, and this sort of, I think, just sort of blew the doors off the perception of what a Game Boy game could be, and, sort of opened the door for more games to sort of come in after it, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and now it's finally, I mean, right, this has been the game that has been ripe for the remake, and it's finally being done. I'm really happy at the time, because I think it would have been cool as a 3DS game for sure. Like, obviously it would have been really cool, like in the Triforce Heroes engine, like with that Wind Waker art style, or even if it was in the other style of like the Link Between Worlds art style. But I'm actually really happy that it ended up on Switch, because it is one of the most gorgeous games I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it looks
absolutely.
so cool.
Cutesy wootsy,
so-
baby.
It is cutesy wootsy. So I'm really looking forward to this game, and this comes out in when does it come out?
September,
The
middle
20th.
of.
Oh my goodness!
The
My goodness
16th?
gracious!
I really need to have got Miles and
13th?
Kilo finished by then.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be playing that.
Yep. That's
You
a good
mean
one.
you're gonna
You should-
play a game?
You should.
Bull.
You know what you should do is Mick. You should set your game engine to be like, if it's not done by this, then it won't work. If it's not done by
Self-delete.
September 20th, self-delete.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a
That's
funny
it.
concept for game development? Ooh, that sounds like a plot to a movie or something.
For funny concepts in development, I like the idea of launching a game that initially sells for $1, but every time someone buys it, the price doubles. So it becomes a weird, limited, exclusive game that if you want, the more you want it, the more you have to pay.
Oh, that's sadistic.
Sounds dirty.
Yeah,
like
that
it.
sounds like me.
That sounds like publisher talk.
I like it. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I think we're all looking forward to it as we can, as it sounds, and it's just funny how it's coming out so soon.
September, man, is going to be insane. So many good games coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wish my initial prediction of August was right. Just to spread them out a little bit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
No sleep in September, as they say.
Who
Me.
says that?
And
Right.
everyone who's playing all these games in September.
Well, I would like to thank Mick for coming on to the show this week. It's been a fun one.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Yeah, it's always fun to have you on. And as you can see, I think this is the fifth time you've been on.
The 5th.
It doesn't seem like it.
Just to me.
All right. All right.
No, it's just that I can count.
That is.
But
yeah.
if people are just listening to this for the first time and they've been living under a rock, where can they find you?
At 4 Horses Games on Twitter. That's 4 spelled out, FOUR. Or our website is 4horses.co.uk.
Boom.
All right, perfect. And you can find us at Talk Nintendo Pod. That's Talk Nintendo.
POD. And you know where they could also find us, Perry? Patreon.com/NWR. That's patreon.com/
NWR.
Yep, there you go, Perry. And don't forget, like I said, bunch of streaming coming up this weekend. Twitch.tv/Nintendo World Report. Hopefully you guys can come hang out. Should be good fun. And
check it out. Join our and I do want to say one more thing about the Patreon is that RFN's second episode is coming out this Monday. So
Boom shakalaka.
look forward to that. And we already have 2 of ours, and it's an amazing growing library of stuff. But yeah, and then check out Twitch this weekend streaming, and of course check out all of our. Don't forget about YouTube. I mean, we still got
the
tons and
Lagoon
tons
might
and
be
tons
in
of
right
stuff.
now, but you're always going to want to go back to the saloon. Wet
That's right,
that
that's right.
whistle, you know?
You know, we'll have to have that segment next week. We'll have both of them next
Nope.
week. Nope. You just completely go against what you just said. But okay.
You don't need
All
to
right, well,
make
thank
sense,
you, everyone.
Perry. That's one thing I've learned.
You don't.
Just
Nope,
say
you
it
don't
with
need to make
conviction.
sense. That's right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you again, Mick.
Yes, thanks, Mix. Old Mix.
M-I-X.
There's 2 of them over there.
That's his DJ name, DJ Mix.
DJ Mix. That would work on so many different levels. That'd be great.
It really would. There's got to be a DJ Mix.
Well,
That's
if
your,
not,
that's
then-
your new nickname, Mick.
Yep.
DJ
Spit
Mix.
all the
Next time you're on
latest
the
Link's
show.
Awakening remixes.
Casey, remember that next time.
AKA DJ Mix.
DJ Mix.
bandits have sort of taken over that area and they sort of prey on anyone that's traveling on the roads. So like you're going up those roads and all of a sudden you've got like
England.
Yeah, those dirty dogs.
Exciting times. I'm not going to pay her though. I'm from Yorkshire. We don't do things like that.
Luigi's Mansion. We're talking about Luigi's Mansion. Dark Moon, not New Moon. You put New Moon, Casey.
Potato.
Twilight. Casey is a closet Twilight fan.
Who said anything about a closet? No. Yeah, Luigi's Dark Moon. Not New Moon, Dark Moon.
Luigi's Mansion.
How
Dark
did
Moon.
you know New Moon was a Twilight movie? Who's the real fan?
Because when I was in high school, those movies were insanely popular.
Is it really that old of a movie series?
Yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Let me look it up.
Because, I remember, 2009. New Moon, yeah. I guess...
Is that when that movie came out?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, dude. Yeah, that's 10 years
It's
ago.
a decade ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which, I guess,
Wow.
for some reason I thought it was... anyway, Luigi's Mansion.
Anyway, Luigi's Mansion, Dark Moon. Let's not talk about Twilight.
You sex
Mick,
pervert.
do you have any waifus?
Not with me in this room.
This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Did you know that Nintendo World Report is funded directly by fans like you? When you support Nintendo World Report on Patreon, you get immediate access to multiple exclusive podcasts every month, exclusive Discord channels, an early look at select content, and more. All for as little as $1 a month. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.